Are you ready to find peace in your heart? Of course you do. I'm Coach Easy, and welcome to the Cause It's Easy Show. As an empowered empath, empowering mindsets, and confidence through adversity, I will help you connect and conquer. Listen in as we talk real about serious concerns in the world and learn how by working together we can make life amazing. You are the ultimate number one in your life, and that's why you can be whoever you want and do whatever you want without worrying what anyone else thinks. Why? Because it's easy with me, Coach Easy. I believe there is a path to an easier way, and having God in your life is the key. On this show, laughter is a promise, and music is the spiritual language. Because it's easy. Starts now. Well, hey, welcome everybody to the Cause It's Easy Show with Coach Easy on the TTN Transformation Radio Network. Talk radio. Just wanted to hope everybody had a good Labor Day weekend. Wish everybody safe and prosper week ahead. So today we're going to talk about my biggest pride and joy, the thing that I'm kind of basing my coaching around, and that's empowerment. I got this down because I used to not be so much. I pretty much just followed, kind of did my thing, and if I couldn't get it, I wouldn't do it. If I didn't want, wasn't that big a deal. I wouldn't try that hard for stuff. I kind of give up on things. And then this last 5 years has changed me, and I pretty much mastered this stuff, and it's really easy because it's really all inside of us. Empowering yourself is a pretty easy process, but there's some healing you got to do, and there's some fighting through some things you got to do. You got to battle through adversities, gain confidence, courage. All that is a process. Not a long one, but it's a process. So I don't know what you guys, how much you know of empowerment. So the definition is basically the capacity of individuals, groups, and or communities to take control of their circumstances, exercise power, and achieve anything they want. And I guess didn't think about it enough, didn't care. Just wanted everybody to like me. That was my thing. And I've learned that isn't always going to be the case. You can't control people. I can control myself, though. I can control what I allow happen to me. That's why I learned boundaries. You got to have boundaries. You hope you never really have to fight people off those boundaries, but it happens. But you also can't let them keep crossing them. That will weaken you quicker than you know. Also, fear. Can't let fear weaken you. Fear is one of probably the biggest detriments to people. And I get it. There's certain things that are scary, but fear will make you weak. You have to, and like I said, this is easier for people that are people of faith, but we were not given the spirit of fear. We're supposed to go to God and trust in God, take away our fears, believe that He's got a plan, right? I know that's not easy. Society is scary sometimes. There's things that happen. So that's why the first thing you got to do with empowerment, get rid of the fear, build your courage, but also love yourself. You have to be able to love yourself before you can be empowered, because if you don't love yourself and you don't think you're a great person, it'll be kind of hard, because you're going to question yourself. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to think you're worthless. You can't do it. Some people do that. They talk themselves out of things. So just another little explanation of empowerment. The degree of autonomy and self-determination in people and in communities. This enables people to represent their interests in a responsible, self-determined way, acting on their own authority It is the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. Empowerment. It says that, it's an action that refers to both the process and the self-empowerment, and to the professional support of people, which enables them to overcome their sense of powerlessness and lack of influence, to recognize and use within resources. I would ask you guys if I could, but what does that mean to you? That'd be a question you want to ask yourself or find out. So back to the empowerment. One of the other things I found out, I never knew what this was, but I'm an empath. And a lot of people don't know what it is. It does have some relation to empathy. If you don't know what empathy means you basically you could feel other people's pain. You feel for that person that are struggling, or they're in pain. You feel bad for them, and it's not the same as sympathy, two different things. But an empath basically, and don't think that psychiatrists and shit, they won't even recognize it as a thing, but it's a thing. Basically, in a nutshell, you feel other people's energy. You can't tell if it's good or bad sometimes, but you can read people really well. Your intuition's really good. You have a lot of empathy, which means you feel really hurt for people when they're hurt. Like, you see someone struggling, they're crying, it may make you emotional. Some people aren't affected. I feel bad for them because that would suck. But you have to care about people to be empathetic. You just do. But the opposite of empath is a narcissist. Narcissists usually prey on empaths. That's a whole other show I've done. This, we're talking about empowerment. I've got a pretty nice course put together that will make you as strong as can be. Basically give you everything you need, all the resources and all the courage and all the power you need to go get what you want, have what you want, do what you want. So it's helped me. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean you get to be an egomaniac. You don't get to be a jerk, because that's the farthest thing. I can get mad. I can defend myself and get angry. I may even say some bad words. That's because they cross my boundaries. And that doesn't mean you have to act on it, but you got to keep those people's boundaries. You got to keep your boundaries solid. You have to set forth what you're not going to allow people to do to you or say to you or how they treat you. And that's part of being empowered. But also part of being empowered is healing. If you have some emotional trauma you dealt with as a kid, part of my package is a big section of it called Healing from Emotional Trauma. But mine's childhood trauma, because I had a childhood really trauma happened to me when I was 12. I don't know if it's affected me my whole life, but I'm sure it has a little bit of bearing on it. Of course, I almost died. Long story on it. Probably some of you've heard it, and I'll tell you it again someday. But I'm in the process of actually making a kind of a short movie, kind of explaining my whole life. That's in there. But empowering, I really locked it down during COVID. What else was I going to do? I found my faith. My faith is stronger. I'm not perfect. I never will be. I use the F word sometimes. I shouldn't. But overall, I try to be the best person I can be. I try to make sure he's not mad at me, right? I think about would he be mad? You know what I mean? You got to have a little bit of subconscious there. No one's ever perfect. Nobody's ever going to be perfect. That's why I also don't judge people. That's another thing. When you're empowered, you learn not to judge people. People that are sad or not happy with themselves are the ones that judge people, because they're usually trying to make up for what they feel, how they feel about themselves. That's not a knock on anybody. It's just they need to get themselves right. I've been there. I've judged people. But once you have confidence in yourself and you're a good person, I mean, you can still be depressed, but it's not because of who you are. It could be for any reason. But just know that you subconsciously, you try to keep yourself right and try to do the right things. Um, we all slip up. That's what forgiveness is for. It's the ones that repeat the same habits over and over and over and over. No different than if you did something that you got in big trouble. Yeah, you're probably smart enough to do it again, right? And that's me. I've made bunches of mistakes. I never try to do the same one twice. And I don't really think I have for anything serious, but that's like banging your head against the wall. Keep doing the same thing over and over and over. And you still don't get it right. But that also can be, it's touchy because I always say you can rest, but don't quit. So you got to decipher the difference. You got to quit doing something that's not working and you're not making any progressive, you're not progressing any. That's a little different. Or you're doing stuff that's bad, just stupid. You got to quit. The other thing. So I've thought about quitting many things. And I did quit things when I was younger, but not no more. Unless I just realized finally, there's no way. But there's always a way. You just have to figure it out. There's always a way. So that's why I say don't quit. We're going to come back and talk about more of it after this, but pay attention because empowerment will change your life. We'll see you soon. See you in a minute on the Because It's Easy show. Coach Easy Radio. Welcome back. Because It's Easy show. Coach Easy on the Transformation Talk Radio. So, any of you that are in your faith, I love this part. So, part of me being empowered has been because I've found my faith and I've got a lot of trust and faith in my Lord. And I had an experience in 2020 after my mom passed away, which I believe I was gifted the Holy Spirit. And that's given me courage like I've never had. So I'm feeling a little bit blessed. On top of my being empowered is you have to have courage. And I never had this courage before. Not like I'm going to go out and do anything stupid because I'm not fearless, but I mean, I know things will be okay. And once you find that faith in God, you're going to know that too. You're going to be like, you just know that he's going to make it right. God always has the last move. He always has one more move. That's why there's a video I've watched that this priest minister talked about. I mean, one more move, and that's with anything in life, like your marriage, your life. I mean, just your career. There's always one more move. And if you have faith and you're strong in your beliefs and your faith and your confidence in yourself, the combination of it all, you can get through about anything. So think about that. But I would like to say a couple prayers. It's just one, really, for something I tell myself every once in a while. Dear Lord, I am calling upon you today for your divine guidance and help. I am in a crisis and need a supporting hand to keep me on the right and just path. My heart is troubled, but I will strive to keep it set on you, as your infinite wisdom will show me the right way to a just and right resolution. Thank you for hearing my prayer and for staying by my side. Amen. Every once in a while, I got to remind myself and read that because I get down. I'm empowered, but we have emotions that affect us. I mean, it's even okay to be sad and angry. Those are emotions that God gives us, but fear is the only thing you need to stop. It's how you act on those emotions. You have to have some self-control. But tell you what, I ain't afraid to say it. I've cried more in the last 5 years than I do my whole life, and it almost feels kind of good to cry sometimes. So don't be afraid to cry. I'm as masculine a man as you'll get. But I was told one time, because I was crying, I think, well, one of them was my son. I was crying in front of him about 3 years ago or 4 years ago. And I said, man, I've been crying more the last few years than I had my whole life. And he goes, Pops, you're purging. Men are always told to stuff all their feelings away and stuff all the way and be strong and tough. And he goes, "You're full, dude. You're letting it out, man. You got to get rid of it." And that made so much sense to me because we do as men, we do have to put. We're expected in society. We're not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to show our emotions. Tough, right? Better go get yourself some testosterone if you're not. But I've also learned of late, a couple years at least, women, and I've even had a couple men say it, a real man is hard and soft. Don't be afraid to be a little soft on occasion. It doesn't take away your masculinity. It doesn't make you not tough. It makes you fucking actually normal. Makes you put your ego away, which a lot of people could do these days. We have a lot of egos flying around. You know what they say? Ego is the anesthesia that numbs the pain of stupidity. I didn't say it, but I liked it. Saying, I mean, I've had an ego before. I mean, I still maybe even have one on occasion for certain things, but subconsciously I don't let myself. But if I catch myself maybe doing that or judging or being cocky, because I've been there before too. It depends on how people trigger me sometimes. I never set out to be cocky ever. I'm the most humble person you ever meet. And I used to be very self-conscious about shit because of my injuries as a kid, but I now know I'm that way for a reason. And that's why this coaching thing's why I'm doing it, because somebody's got to do it. I mean, there's lots of people out there, but I've got a story and I've got the heart and I've got the empathy. I can help people. So that's what I'm doing. I'm learning along the way. But I listened to this woman, I can't remember her name. And I literally have studied to do this, to be an empath. I mean, I had to, because I didn't understand a lot of the stuff. I didn't understand a lot of the faith. I didn't understand a lot of nuances of us as a human. Like, we're quite the species, man. Our bodies can do a lot of things. Our minds can do a lot of things. We were created. Don't forget that. We didn't just come out of a test tube. And we're all created for a reason, a certain way. We're basically energy in our brain, and we're just borrowing the shell. I think I'm firmly starting to believe in reincarnation. I really am. That's why you think some people maybe leave young, they die young, right? That's just not fair. Well, their first journey wasn't done. They had to finish it, and they maybe only had a little bit left. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying that you ought to believe that. But the more and older, the more wise I get, the more I research, the more I believe that for sure. I would never argue about it with people because I don't know enough, but I believe it's true. It makes sense is why. Some people die early and you're like, they were a good person. Why would they die? Well, that, that they were somebody else before us, before they were, not that they're different. They're just the same. We're a shell. They may have been the same exact person in a different setting, looks different, everything else, but their soul, they're the same people. Why some people think they see somebody says they're twin or something, or they see somebody that has a lot of similarities. I don't know. It's just that's fun to think about. Maybe do a little research about it, but all that, I believe, faith, God has to be there with empowerment. You have to have both, I think. I'm not saying you won't have it. You could have it, because what's funny is the word actually comes from kind of the old, God, what did they say that it's kind of a form of dictatorship in a way, like controlling other, empowerment. But it's changed over the years, and it's basically has to do with empowering ourselves to stand up for ourselves against perhaps tyranny, perhaps just the school bully. It will change your life when you don't have to let anybody treat you like you should be treated. And that it goes along with it. I won't get into it too much, but our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. there's a big thing that's why that's such an important thing for us to have is it's our rights, and it's our, God-given rights. It's nobody should be allowed to take anything from you, um, unless you owe it to them. But like, we don't owe anybody anything. We don't owe the government anything. We don't owe unless you borrowed something from somebody. You don't owe your neighbor something. You don't owe your local congressman anything. You don't owe anybody anything unless you physically borrow something. We are the ones right here, you and me, people. We're in charge of this country. You can't forget that they work for us, and that doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. You trust, hopefully, you trust who you voted in. Just remember that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do unless you've caused a crime or you've borrowed. You know what I mean? And those rights are very important. Just saying. I'll get off that subject for a minute, but don't want to lose our rights, because that's what our future relies on, right? And every generation has a responsibility to keep those rights intact. Gotcha. Anyway, so is anybody, I can't ask you guys here, but empowerment and confidence, similar, but confidence goes with it. So I've got a TED Talk that I wrote that I've actually implemented it in my program. It's called Confidence Through Adversities. And I also put together some more stuff, and it's kind of combined it. So you get two courses in one, but overcoming obstacles. And then the third is healing from emotional trauma. And that's been added because that's important. You have to heal or you can be empowered. And so whatever that underlying issue is, it can be way deep, but you can find it. That has got to be healed first, because then it'll turn into just rage if you don't have it controlled. You can be empowered, but you can be out of control empowered. You got to have it controlled empowered. You got to have power that's controlled, put it that way. Because anybody can have power, and then they use that power and they overdo it, or they abuse it, or they go over the top. Kind of like people in power, like bosses. Maybe they rule with iron fist. They're not empowered. They're control freaks. They're egomaniacs. Because a true boss is a true leader is much different. Ruling by iron fist is not the way to live, not the way to rule. That's why a lot of people in charge around this world need to go through some leadership. And there's part of that involved in it too, in my empowering. You'll become a good leader too, or know how to be a leader. Because being a leader is going to make you a pretty good person too. Because being a leader, you have to manage people. You have to know how to treat people, and you have to know how to treat those people fairly, and everybody the same. It's kind of like our country. We have to be, everybody has the same rights, right? Everybody's got to treat everybody the same. You can't treat anybody differently. I don't care what their age, their size, their color, everybody is the same. At least except for the kiddos until they're 18. There's a few things they can't, but other than that, we all have the same rights, and that's what civil rights was all about. And, we've come a long ways, man. It's pretty cool. But that just shows you everybody can empower themselves. First step, heal yourself. There's ways to do it, or you can have someone help you. It's always nice to have somebody help you, or at least somebody to talk to, and get to the root of that and master it, and not let it happen, not let it affect you anymore. You guys don't even know. I didn't know for a long time. There's things I've let affect me subconsciously. I didn't even realize that's what was affecting me. I'm happier than I've ever been in my life right now, but I'm also probably having my life isn't that exciting, and I'm alone a lot, but I'm overall happy because I've learned to love myself, and I know that I'm not a bad guy, and I try to do the nice things for people. You have to be able to get to that point first. You have to be able to not hate yourself or not be disappointed in yourself. That's healing. Then also building the confidence to love yourself and trust you're going to do the right thing, and trust, nice. Like I said, having faith is always a bonus, that he's always got you and he's going to keep you on the right path. Then you get strong. Then you build the boundaries, and you build your abilities and your confidence and leadership skills to be able to do and have whatever you want. I mean, I'm even still working on it. So we'll talk more about this next week on the Radio Transformation Network. This is Coach Easy with the Cuz It's Easy Show. You have been listening to the Cuz It's Easy Show with me, Coach Easy. Empowered empath, empowering mindsets, and building confidence through adversities. Tune in every Tuesday at 3:30 Pacific, 5:30 Central Time on TransformationTalkRadio.com, where I, Coach Easy, will show you the easy way to make your life simple, abundant, and amazing. No matter what you have experienced in your life, you can feel positive, confident, learn to laugh, and have fun again. For more information on the Cuz It's Easy approach, visit CuzIt'sEasy.com. Cuz, C-U-Z, it's easy, EAZY.com.